finish of 2.25. That average finish to me is impressive over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. But to do it 8 races, have you guys ever seen anything like that before?
Well, I think what's impressive is it's so many different types of racetracks. When you look at it as Pocono or a road course at Sonoma or the Chicago Street Race, Dover, which is, I mean, a totally different animal than a lot of those. It's been a lot of fun to watch him, and I know there was a lot of pressure, Parker, on Connor heading into the season. The start of the year was a little rocky, but man, has he figured it out.
You pointed it out, it's just the diversity of the tracks. And I think it's really sort of goes back to his upbringing and all the preparation he's had for this moment. And you look at all the different types of race cars he drove in his teenage years, from one going out at go-karts to driving MX-5 Cup and Trans Am and doing late models, and just drove everything and did road course and oval style racing. And he now, I believe, over the next, it's already happening. I shouldn't even say it's now happening, it's already happening, but you'll definitely become a consistent team in the next 5 to 10 years. And if you're a young driver who wants to make it to the highest level of motorsports in America, you're going to have to do what he did. You're going to have to drive everything. You're going to have to drive ovals, road courses, all different types of stuff, and become that holistically prepared race car driver for all different types of tracks because of the diversity of the schedule.
He's also the template of any young driver out there. If you can afford or have the opportunities to go race all those different cars, and his preparation for all of these races. We talked to him about how are you preparing for these events. Same thing with Jesse Love right here. The tools that all of these drivers have to prepare for a track like Indy that you've never been to, whether it's watching onboard footage, the SMT, which is the driver footage of steering input, brakes, throttle, everything that goes with that. They can get so prepared before they ever get to these racetracks.
Yeah, and for years it was what do you want, the Jeff Gordon model, which is find me a USAC midget star and I'll put them in a stock car and they'll go fast, a la Kyle Larson. I think it's definitely changing now. But one thing it is catching my eye is when we came here last year, there were so many of us who saw this package, knew we were going to the big track at Indy, which we had the Super Speedway motor with the normal 1.5 mile aero package, and we thought trim the cars out, make them as low drag as possible. Most of us at the start of practice last year couldn't even make a lap. So the whole field learned. Everyone has come with way more downforce this year, which is why the Stuart Haas cars were so fast last year. They really one-upped everyone with that decision. And as I see all these cars running around, a lot more cars making laps in a very hot and slick Indy.
Getting a look at the Burton boys here, who have been a topic of conversation a lot in the last couple of weeks because of their positioning in the playoff standings as we get down to the final handful of weeks in the regular season. Harrison gained 9 points last week at Dover on that bubble cut line, but these two have been attached at the hip to each other the last few weeks, and I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon.
No, and I thought the craziest stat that I saw last weekend when we talked about Harrison is that we're 20 races in, and he's been within 16 points in that cut line all year long. And you just think about the stress, that goes along with that, and every weekend worrying about, how are you doing around those other guys? And then it's just it'd be so awkward to be a family member that you're racing for that cutoff line as well.
I had a long conversation with Jeb earlier today, and I first asked, are you surprised to be up against your cousin like this? He said, no, we've run right next to each other all year. I also, we talked a little bit about just what they have to do and how they can beat that 25 and his cousin, and he said basically it's just going to come down to whoever doesn't make mistakes, who out-executes each other. And I think they've been so close on speed, and to give some precedence to that, our Race Insights guys give us those speed metrics. Right now on this average on the season, Jeb is the 16th fastest car, Harrison, the 15th fastest car.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you about Jeb, I saw a Twitter video of him this weekend.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have to worry about being a baseball player. I can tell you, it was very Brad Keselowski, basketballish, watching him try to throw a baseball. So no fear there.
Did you hear those little cracks in the throttle there? This track, this Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this, Jamie, is super sensitive to heat and sun, and this place bakes and it becomes incredibly slick. If you watch the month of May, the Indy cars, they track the temperature of this track so closely. As you listen to 7 here, little lift into 3. It's wild how much grip this place loses as it gets hot, and I think that's what caught so many of us out last year, and all these teams have tried to adjust coming back this year, and you're still having to lift, even with this lower horsepower.
Yeah, it's such a fun lap to...
55.30.
watch how smooth it is. No bumps. Like,
None.
just, there's 4 tunnels at this track. There's not one bump over any of those tunnels.
Ride with Allgaier here, the active leader. Boy, there's been a few of those cars. Few of the JRM cars have had a couple moments at this end of the racetrack, both off of 1 and off of 2 as well.
Well, 1 gets really tricky here because turn 1 in itself has always been a famous corner for Indy cars because you have the tunnel effect of the grandstands on both sides. It just feels tighter, and it's so important to try and carry as much throttle as you can through there. I actually hit the wall off of 1 in qualifying last year, and did the exact same thing that Justin had, which is committed back to the throttle, and then the front end said nope.
And one thing to watch as we go down into turn 1 right here, you're going to see on the exit of turn 1, there's a tire where somebody has hit the wall there. I would always focus on those as I turn into turn 1 right here, because you know that's where you're going to hit at, and you kind of judge that distance. So if you watch right here, he gets to the gas, you're going to see a tire mark next to the wall right there.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I know I got to get just to the little bit to the left of that, because if you're not, you're going to hit that moment. So the corners are just so long, and it's so interesting too, because from an aerial shot, it's just this perfect, like, 4 corners, it looks like. And they just drive so different. This place is crazy.
Allgaier and Jesse Love running together here into turn number 3. Love, we saw at the start of this practice, had the left front splitter looked like was dragging on his car, but I think his tires came up to temperature that has sorted itself out.
And that would be interesting to see here as Justin gets closer to the 2 and if he's able to make a pass. With this package last year, dirty air was really bad, of course. Oh, as we see Daniel Dias going for a spin.
Hang on.
Oh,
Oh, we just hit the inside wall. Left front, right at the headlight. Hit it pretty good.
That's off of turn 2, and the yellow has waved for the first time here 10 minutes into this practice session.
Yeah, that didn't look bad, but that's damage is going to be worse than what you think.
That's a sensitive part of the race car. You know, the front
You're
end
clear right
and
there to
all
start
that.
rolling.
That's where you set those splitter heights, and it's down to the thousandth of an inch. And when you have an impact like that in a race, you just keep going. But if you
The race to cruise sheet's like, it's not bad.
Yeah, man, it's just going to drag a little bit. We'll put some packer in it.
Here's a look at the replay. Die at the top of the screen.
Early.
She was loose super early into the corner there.
Oh, wow.
Great job.
Yeah.
Put it off the outside wall, and then
Never stop trying.
yeah, you're just along for the ride. You need to release the brake right there to hopefully make the car turn, but you're praying inside the car that it's going to get slowed down. That was pretty good impact at the inside wall.
And for it to be that early, it tells me, you know, one of the things that we talk about all 4 corners being different